Welcome to the May 5th, 2022 Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:02. Staff announcements?
No announcements this evening.
Okay. All right, so next we'll move to consideration of approval of the April 7th, 2022 meeting minutes.
Motion to approve?
Okay, before we do that, I do have one item on there, so on the minutes, not a huge thing. So on the first page where we're approving the minutes, we've got Chair Langley asked for a vote, and then the next paragraph is seeing none, the minutes were approved. We didn't really have a vote in there. It was unanimous. I don't know if we need to add that in there or not. But that would be my amendment to the minutes, if we could just add the vote piece in there.
We can make that correction.
Yeah, minor, but thought I'd mention it. I actually read them. All right, so Frank, would you make a motion with that amendment? Would you agree with that change?
Agree, yes.
Okay. So motion made by Frank with that amendment. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Seeing no one opposed, the minutes are approved. Next, we'll move to our first item. It is an appeal of an administrative decision regarding an interpretation of the floodway fringe overlay district boundaries based on a FEMA letter of map revision based on fill for the property located at 5,000 Long Point Way. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 1 is an appeal of administrative decision for the city's FFO boundaries for 5,000 Long Point Way. The applicant has provided a letter of map revision based on fill issued by FEMA and is requesting that the board interpret the FFO boundary based on the FEMA-approved floodplain boundary change shown in the letter. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Is the applicant present? If you'd like to step forward for us and state your name for the record and
I'm the civil consultant, Mike Campbell with M2 Group.
okay. Any additional comments at all? It's kind of your,
No, it was a pretty straightforward process with city staff. Went to FEMA, got approval, came back to city staff, and I think everything went pretty smooth.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
So next we'll open the public comment. Are there any citizen comments? We'll wait for the line to form here at the podium. Is there a motion to close the public comment?
Motion to close?
Motion made by Jeff. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Frank. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
So public comments closed. Is there a motion on this item?
Mr. Chairman, based on the map revision by FEMA, Lomar, that this be approved.
Okay, I have a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, item number 1 is approved. Next, we'll move to item number 2. It's a variance request to reduce the minimum garage setback for a front-loading garage from 20 feet to 13 feet, 7 inches, behind the front facade and front door at 516 Dunwoody Court. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 2 is a variance request to reduce the minimum garage setback for a front-loading garage from 20 feet to 13 feet, 7 inches behind the front facade and the front door at 516 Dunwoody Court. The zoning ordinance requires that front-facing garages be at least 20 feet behind the front facade and front door, as well as 22 feet from the sidewalk. This particular subdivision does not have a sidewalk, therefore this portion of the zoning ordinance does not apply. The 20-foot setback for front-facing garages has been part of the zoning ordinance since 2019, when it changed from being 10 feet behind the front facade. Staff has reviewed this request for the 3 criteria established by state law. Criteria 1 requires uniqueness in the shape or topography of the lot. The subject property is located at the end of a cul-de-sac in the Dunwoody Commons subdivision. The parcel is approximately 74 feet in length on one side and approximately 173 feet in length on the other side. This creates a unique building footprint on the subject parcel. The applicant is proposing to add the front-facing garage on the shorter side of the lot, which is where they will not encroach into the side or rear yard setbacks. Because of the uniqueness of the shape of the property, staff believes this criteria is met. Criteria 2 states that the strict application of the zoning ordinance would cause undue hardship upon the owner of the property. The applicant has indicated that the owners of the house on the subject parcel utilize street parking in order to prevent their vehicles from being hit by golf balls as the property abuts a golf course. The house on the property currently has a one-bay side-loading garage. The applicant is unable to extend the existing garage as adding a second bay would make the garage out of compliance with the required setback for side-loading garages as stated in Franklin Zoning Ordinance 6.3, and it would encroach into the front yard setback. The proposed two-car garage is set back from the front door as far as it can be without encroaching into the side yard setback. Due to the unique shape of the property, the strict application of the zoning ordinance would prevent the owners of the subject parcel from adding a second garage to the house, which staff believes is a practical difficulty, and therefore this criteria is met. Criteria 3 requires that relief can be granted without detriment to the public good or impairment to the zoning ordinance. The applicant has indicated that the design of the house, which includes the front-facing garage with a setback of 13 feet 7 inches, has been approved by the neighborhood HOA and has provided a letter stating such, which was in your packets. While this will be the only front-facing garage on the street, the house is at the end of a cul-de-sac, adjacent to the golf course, and not visible from streetscape views. Because the design has been approved by the HOA, the driveway is longer than 22 feet so that cars would not overhang into the street when parked in the driveway, and the lot is at the end of the cul-de-sac that backs against the golf course. Relief can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good, and staff believes this criteria is met. Based on this analysis, staff recommends approval of this variance request because the 3 criteria have been met. Thank you.
Thank you, staff. Is the applicant present? If you'd like to step forward for us and maybe kind of present the application. I know you had a submittal letter. If you could walk us through that, that would be great.
Where would you like me to start?
Yeah, if you just kind of want to give us an overview of the project and then kind of why you're asking for the variance request.
Yeah.
Criteria
so-
that we should look at. So,
Cool. Yeah, so we have, so we're currently right up against Cheekwood, and we're right off like the first hole, like the first tee-off area.
Right.
And so what happens, we actually have already gotten the HOA to approve, we put shrubbery separating it from it to try to create some kind of wall, but what happens is we still probably get, I would say at least 3 or 4 balls hit into our yard a week / hit our cars. And then the other thing that happens is then we also have people who walk into our yard and then come get the golf balls a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
So the big thing is like, we also have 2 car, I have a truck and then she has an SUV, and we stupidly bought 3 dogs, so we need a big SUV. And so we can't pull into our current garage. And I don't know if it's like a 90s thing, but the garage is like kind of tight anyway, where you would only be able to fit really 1 car in there comfortably. So the only spot is to add like the 2-car garage right alongside, so we could pull both of ours in to just keep them from those type of things. And the other thing too that happens with the house that I didn't even list, I don't think, is because it's like off the fairway, when we get like the winds and stuff from the storms, our house just gets pounded so hard too. So when we have our cars like out in the driveway or out in the front, they just everything gets hammered extra hard. So having even just that buffer too would be really nice. But yes, that's the biggest thing, and we're just trying to make it so we can stay in the house so as we keep growing, kind of a thing. So
in the packet, the first 2 images are those of adjacent homes in that same area. There were 2 kind of initial, and I think they just pull those up on the screens.
oh yeah, so the neighborhood right across the street. So we are right next to Carolina Close, and so like when we had the architect drop the plans. When we worked with our HOA the whole time to try to see what would be allowed. And so one of it was to make it look like the neighborhood right across the street. 'Cause it's probably like you turn left onto our street or you turn right onto Caroline Close, if you know where that is. And so these houses are right over there. So with our new plans, it's to kind of mimic their look, so it kind of all stays cohesive. So.
Okay, that's great. I did see your picture of the collection of golf balls. That's a
Yeah.
pile of golf balls.
I know, and that's actually, it's really crazy because we get, we literally get, that's probably in like, literally probably like 2.5 weeks of time. And then if you go, I was just weed whacking around we have like our fence like, off the property line, so I was weed whacking around yesterday, or a couple days ago, and just against the side of our fence is just golf balls, just lying. You get, so it's, we could start a side business, but,
Okay. All right, we appreciate it. Thanks.
Sure.
All right, so are there any citizen comments? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to close the public comment?
Motion to close.
A motion made by Jeff, is there a second?
Second?
Second by Frank. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Public comment's closed. Questions from the board at all for staff? If not, I'm ready to entertain a motion.
Motion to approve based on the fact that the staff has approved all three, they've met all three criteria, approved it.
A motion for approval made by Jeff. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Frank. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Seeing none, item number 2 is approved as well. So down to the last item here, so is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn?
Motion made by Frank. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Seeing no one opposed, the May 5th meeting is adjourned.